Happening now on Grid tonight. IndyCar wrapped up its preseason hype content day, where all drivers got to speak to the media about the upcoming 2022 season. What's on everyone's mind? Almost a month away from St. Pete, the 2022 Chili Bowl is in the books. In the lead up to the event, we learned that an ex Formula One driver expressed interest in competing. What would this mean for the Chili Bowl on the world stage? Matt White from Grid History previews the first race of the year in the Grid Ranking World Rally Championships 2022 season opener, Rally Monte Carlo. The Repco Supercars Championship has a new CEO with big ideas to grow the Australian based series. What does he have plans for supercars? A special hello to all our viewers watching here in the United States and around the world. Welcome to Grid Tonight, your weekly motorsports news program. I'm Kobe Lambeth from the Podium Finish, and with me right here, Mr. Adam Lemerise, and a special shout out to our Patreon supporters, Colin, Mark, Deschelle, and Robin. Thank you so much for investing in Grid Network. Link to our Patreon in the video description below. Please feel free to comment in the chat room, ask any questions you may have, and engage in the discussion. So with that said, let's kick off tonight's show looking at some of the notable comments from IndyCar Content Day. And all of the drivers competing in this year's NTT IndyCar Series met with members of the media at Content Day. There were a lot of intriguing quotes from drivers all around, but we're going to focus on what stood out to us the most, and that's going to start with Scott Dixon. He criticized the current IndyCar chassis, comparing it to a junior Formula car. This comparison is not a major surprise to us at all. Multiple drivers in the past have compared the IndyCar to the FIA Formula 2 car. Maybe that explains why Christian Lundgaard, who just finished up his stint in Formula 2, took to the IndyCar like a duck takes to water and seamless transition. And when Dixon made these comments, the topic was the 2023 IndyCar engine rules with the increase in horsepower. He said it's not particularly fast or nimble. Talking about the current car, said the car is heavy with the added weight, but acknowledges that this comes from the aero screen and other safety enhancements created to increase driver safety. Dixon pointed the finger at the lack of chassis development in the last decade. While we've seen the IndyCar go through different aero kits, the chassis itself has been the same since the DW12 was introduced in 2012, so an entire decade ago now. However, he's optimistic that the new regulations coming soon will help balance the power to weight ratio to make the cars drive like an open wheel car should drive at this high level of competition. Several of Dixon's peers agreed with his stance about wanting the next Indy car to be lighter and get the car right for the future. In the photo you see right here on the screen, taken by Chris Jones from Penske Entertainment. So the first question of the evening goes to you, Adam. Is it a bad look for IndyCar having its six-time champion compare the car to a junior Formula car, and where should the difficulty of the car rank? On the same level as Formula 2, in between Formula 1 and Formula 2, or on the same level as Formula 1?
Well, I'm going to have to say in between F1 and F2. You take a look at, I know Scott Dixon's a six-time, I know Scott Dixon's a multi-time IndyCar champion, but for you new viewers that may not be aware of how good the NTT IndyCar Series is, they've had some former F1 winners compete in the series. Men like Emerson Fittipaldi, Mario Andretti. Other names that have competed are Al Unser Jr., Al Unser, Rick Mears, Denny Sullivan, and many others, including AJ Foyt. So to me, it was kind of weird to see Scott Dixon compare the current F1. It was weird for me to see that Scott Dixon would compare the current IndyCar to a junior Formula car. I think it's really, I have no problems with the car, and I can't wait to see what happens in the season opener at St. Pete, only a month away. Wow, can't believe the season's almost here.
Yes, the 2022 NTT IndyCar Series season is literally right around the corner. We're used to them starting in mid-March, but it's going to be kind of odd this time, starting right at the end of February. But hey, IndyCar's always, in recent years, had a longer off season, so having them come back several weeks early is definitely a welcome sight for all IndyCar fans out there, and it definitely caught me by surprise with Scott Dixon being very critical of the race car because typically we don't usually see the drivers in IndyCar complain much about the cars. They always talk about the competition, how great the competition is, and how great the racing is compared to Formula One. But I think Scott Dixon's comments really speak volumes. And somebody like Scott Dixon speaks out about an issue with the car. You sit back and listen. I'm sure Roger Penske, who currently owns the series right now, is definitely in Penske Entertainment. They're definitely gonna be evaluating his comments very carefully because I'm sure Roger Penske doesn't want the Indy car to be depicted as a junior Formula car. They want to be viewed as one of the premier racing series around the world, and I think IndyCar is one of the premier racing series in the globe. And I totally agree with you, Adam, on where the IndyCar should rank in terms of difficulty. I think it's best to place it between Formula One and Formula Two, and we've had drivers in the past talk, as I mentioned, about the Indy car being similar to the Formula Two car. That's not necessarily a bad thing because drivers who've driven the F2 car always say that is quite challenging, and I guess you can say the same thing about the Indy car in the same regard. But when you're going to Indy car, I think drivers really would like the next step up. I don't think they necessarily mean it has to be like side by side with Formula One. I don't think that's going to happen. But if you have something like right in the middle, in between F1 and F2, I think that would be the best case scenario for everyone involved. And speaking of Formula One, two of IndyCar's brightest young stars remain in the conversation for future Formula One drives: Pato O'Ward and Colton Herta. And of course, they talked about that at Content Day, no surprise. Starting with Pato O'Ward, he was very critical of the FIA's super license point scoring process. He feels that IndyCar drivers should receive more points if they finish high up in the championship. The 2021 IndyCar champion, Alex Palou, received 40 points needed to acquire a super license by simply winning the championship. Second place got 30 points, and third place earned 20 towards a super license. While Pato Ward remains committed to doing his job in IndyCar, he didn't shy away at all that his ultimate goal in life is to make it to Formula One. And with Formula One creating rules requiring teams to get young drivers more seat time, it remains to be seen whether McLaren will get Award some free practice one running time at some points in the year. And we also don't know if he'll truly be a contender for one of the McLaren F1 seats. But if Award improves on last year, wins more races, takes home the Indy 500, and or win the IndyCar Championship, Lando Norris, especially Daniel Ricciardo, better watch out because Zach Brown might have to make a tough decision. In the photo you see on the screen of Pato, taken by Chris Owens from Penske Entertainment, on the other hand, Colton Herta remains committed to IndyCar, but if the opportunity arises in F1, he'll seriously consider it. And Curtis made the point that he's only 21 years old right now, and he believes he could race in Formula One for 5 years, then return to IndyCar and race here in the States for another 15 years. He's still very young, and time's on his side right now, but he acknowledges a 28-year-old probably won't get a shot to be a Formula One driver. Photo taken by Joe Skabinski from Penske Entertainment. So, in your opinion, Adam, who has a better chance of being on the 2023 Formula One grid, Pato O'Ward or Colton Herta? And should IndyCar be worried about losing their brightest young drivers?
Yeah. First of all, the first question is I'm going to go say Pato O'Ward. You saw what he did last. You saw what he did last year. Um, could I see him on the 2023 F1 grid? Sure. Do I think he'd be competitive? Yeah. And like you were saying, Kobe, Daniel Ricciardo and Landon Norris better watch out because Pato Ward is for real. Then regarding your second question, yeah, I'd be worried if I was IndyCar because I mean those two young drivers are really talented. Um, they could win multiple IndyCar championships, multiple race wins overall. Um, I'd be worried if I'd be worried. I'd be real worried, because to me, Pato Ward and Colton Herta, even though they're young, I think they could compete in the IndyCar series for a long time to come.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I feel like both of those young guns, Paddle Ward, Colton Herta, can definitely compete in IndyCar for many years to come and turn into absolute superstars. They've already rose to stardom here in the States, and I feel like they could really become the face of the series in several years to come, especially since the face of the series, like Scott Dixon's and the Will Powers in the world, they won't be around forever. Also, the Simon Pagenaud's and the Elio Castronevises, they also won't be racing in IndyCars for many more years. So these are going to be the people that are going to be in the conversation when we say IndyCar. We're going to say Pato Award and Colton Herta. But if I'm thinking about a driver who's going to potentially be in the best opportunity to race in Formula One in 2023, I definitely have to say Pato Award, and that's because he has the right connections right now. He's connected with the McLaren Formula One team due to McLaren's obvious involvement here with IndyCar, and he also got to drive the McLaren F1 car at the Young Driver Test in Abu Dhabi after the Formula One season finale in December. And Pato O'Ward performed extremely well in that test. And I believe that's going to go a long way. And also how he does this season as well. I believe he could have a legitimate shot at making Formula One with McLaren, probably replacing Daniel Ricciardo since he's the driver right now in that lineup that's under the most scrutiny to perform and be more consistent. So I think if Pato can improve on last year, win the championship, or win the Indy 500, give that to McLaren, I think he could be rewarded with a Formula One drive. And as for IndyCar being worried about losing one or even both of their youngest bright stars right now, I think it's a good and bad situation for IndyCar. Eh, And I'm gonna start with why it would be bad because obviously you just said it. They lose the feature star of the series for however many years, maybe a few years, maybe for an entire decade before they come back towards the tail end of their racing career. Who knows? But also we've seen drivers rave about the driver talent you see in IndyCar. They say the IndyCar grids are extremely competitive and it's not like Formula One where you can only get maybe like two or three teams that are capable of winning each week. In IndyCar, most teams, if they hit the right setup, can be competitive and win. If you think about the IndyCar grid for this upcoming season, there's maybe like 16, 17, 18 drivers who can go out there and win on any given weekend. It just shows you how competitive the series is. So if Pato Award or Colton Herta or both go to Formula One, it'll just show you that the IndyCar series provides these star young drivers and incredible talent capable of racing in Formula One.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you said, Kobe. It's going to be amazing to see if Pato or Colton Herta will be on the F1 grid in the future. And switching now over to some IMSA news, Ford Performance announced that four NASCAR drivers will be competing in the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge season opener at Daytona. Austin Cindric, Chase Briscoe, Harrison Burton, and Haley Deegan will drive a pair will drive for PF Racing in a pair of Ford Mustang GT4s. Briscoe and Cindric will drive the number 41 Ford, while Cindric and Burton will team up the number 42 car. Cindric will be doing double duty next weekend as he's also competing in the Rolex 24 with WeatherTech Racing and GTD Pro. Photo courtesy of Ford Performance. And next, here's Kobe with some news about an historic sprint car race that took place last weekend in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Not exactly a sprint car race, Adam, but a dirt midget. On
Yeah,
Saturday night in Tulsa, Oklahoma, the Chili Bowl took place with Tanner Thorson winning the race after a solid battle with NASCAR Cup Series star Christopher Bell. Surprisingly, Kyle Larson wasn't really much of a factor in the A main. And speaking of the A main, history was made with Kaylee Ray Bryson becoming the first woman in Chili Bowl history to make the main event. And we'll have more on Kaylee Bryson's major accomplishment tomorrow on Women in Motorsport. Early in the new year, Matt Weaver from Racing America caught an interesting piece of information during a chat with IndyCar driver Connor Daly. Weaver said Daly told him that ex Formula One driver and current IndyCar driver at Andretti Autosport, Roman Grosjean, has inquired frequently about entering the Chili Bowl. Could you imagine if Grosjean enters the event in 2023? I think the media coverage would skyrocket. We've already seen his fellow open wheel competitors compete there, like Daly himself and Santino Ferrucci, who suffered a concussion after flipping his car there last weekend. So definitely want to wish a speedy recovery to Santino Ferrucci. The Chili Bowl is growing each year here stateside, and it's starting to gain some attention as well internationally. Dirt racer Tom Harris competed in the Chili Bowl, and he's from the United Kingdom. Looking at Tom Harris's social media page, I saw fans across the pond in the UK following Harris's progress at the Chili Bowl with a lot of supportive comments. So the international following is there, but it'll likely get to an unprecedented level of media coverage if Grosjean decides to race in 2023 or years down the road. Photo taken by Chris Owens from Penske Entertainment. How big of a deal would it be for the Chili Bowl if Roman Grosjean enters the race? We know NASCAR stars like Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, and Chase Elliott will get NASCAR fans watching. Will Grosjean participate and get more European fans who traditionally follow Formula One to pay attention to the event from afar?
Yeah, I think if Roman Grosjean wants to compete in the Chili Bowl, I say go for it. Though those midget cars are I've been watching midget racing. Go back to the days of Thursday Night Thunder and Saturday Night Thunder on ESPN. Um, and to me, you have to have a lot of talent to drive those cars. And especially on dirt. We saw what happened with Santino Ferrucci taking a tumble. We also saw Chase Elliott taking a tumble as well. So it takes a lot of talent to drive a midget car. Um, and if Roman Grosjean wants to do it, I mean, hey, uh, you were mentioning someone from the United Kingdom racing this year. Yeah, Roman Grosjean wants to do it. I say, welcome aboard. Who knows what the viewership would be? I think it'd be awesome, cool, and what a way to start the motorsport season if you have someone like Roman Grosjean, a former F1 driver, competing in an iconic midget race known as the Chili Bowl Dirt Nationals. I think I think the number to me the viewership across the world would be awesome.
Yes, I think if Grosjean enters the event, that would be a massive, massive deal for the Chili Bowl, and as I mentioned, Chili Bowl is already growing big time here in the states. I remember there was a time where you talked to the average NASCAR fan and they wouldn't be able to tell you what the Chili Bowl was. But I think what really got fans in the Chili Bowl was the success of Christopher Bell, the success of Kyle Larson, seeing Rico Abreu, who had a brief stint in NASCAR as well, competing in the event. It was those guys who helped the Chili Bowl take off here in in the United States of America. And I feel like if Roman Grosjean ran the event next year, we see the Chili Bowl take off in Europe as well. And Flow Racing, the streaming service that broadcasts the vast majority of the Chili Bowl, saw record gains in viewership. And the information I'm about to share with you comes straight from a press release from Flow Racing. Unique viewership for the Flow Racing portion of the Chili Bowl broadcast jumped 60% year over year from 2021 to 2022. Total live minutes consumed on Flow Races skyrocketed an astonishing 96% year over year to 74 million minutes. Viewership of the 2022 Chili Bowl broadcast on Flow Racing represented the highest unique viewership numbers in its 36-year history. Flow Racing social media platforms delivered an incredible 7.7 million views for video for the Chili Bowl content, representing a 71% increase over 2021, and nearly 2 million engagements for the week, representing an 85% increase over 2021. And photo you see on the screen of this year's Chili Bowl champion Tanner Thorson winning the event. That photo is courtesy of Flow Racing. So as you heard, Chili Bowl is definitely growing big time, and imagine what those numbers could be if we see Roman Grosjean next year. I think it could double or even triple because Roman Grosjean he brought a lot of fans over here brought a lot of fans to follow IndyCar when he first came over here last year to race, and I think he could certainly do the same thing next year. So we'll keep an eye on to see if Roman Grosjean decides to dip his toes in the water and try out some dirt racing. And next, some news from NASCAR. NASCAR executive vice president and chief legal counsel Gary Crotty was elected to the FIA courts. Crotty becomes one of 36 judges to serve on the FIA courts. He's also the first judge representing NASCAR on the international stage, showing that NASCAR has been formally recognized as one of the major racing organizations in the world. This comes after the FIA allowed NASCAR's three national series to become eligible for FIA super license points, which happened a few years ago, and photo courtesy of Fusion Photography. Next, here's Matt White with a brief preview of the 2022 World Rally Championship season opener at Rally, Monte Carlo.
2022 WRC season is about to get underway. Hi everybody, Matt White here. We're ready for the first grid ranking scoring event of the new season, of course, and of course Pick a Winner returns with this weekend's Rally of Monte Carlo, the Winter Classic, and it all kicks off Thursday. 2 stages in the darkness on Thursday night to kick off the weekend's festivities. Absolute guaranteed blockbuster viewing, especially the second stage on Thursday in the darkness across the Col de Turini part of, it's an infamous piece of Monte Carlo Rally Road, and the fans will be up the top of the hill there with the firecrackers and the flares going all night long. That is going to be a great party. Kind of wish I was there, but here we are, giving you a report over the weekend. Friday, a full day, no service this time on a Friday, and on Saturday, no service, so it's a full loop of stages, only a tyre change in the middle. And with the brand new cars for this season, how will they fare on Sunday? 2 stages, and the second one, the power stage. 2 stages run twice, should I say, so 4 stages in total on Sunday. The power stage, or the big ticket for Sunday, of course, extra championship points. Held out to the top 5. We've got Sebastian Loeb, the world champion, coming back for potentially his last Monty, the 9-time winner, and Sebastian Loeb, fresh off coming second on the Dakar in this event in a Ford as well. So an 8-time world champion in OJ versus a 9-time world champion in Seb Loeb. So it's going to be a battle of the Sebs for French honours. We've got brand new cars for the 2022 season. Toyota and Hyundai stick with their Yaris and i20 respectively, but a completely new car for this year. Ford switch out the Fiesta for the Puma for this year and have new man in the hot seat for them, Craig Breen, who was doing a fantastic job in a part-time season last year with Hyundai, but he switched across for his first full-time season with Ford this year. Look for them to go well. They always come out of the blocks very fast when we have a regulation change. They did the same in 2017. So look out for Breen as a bit of a dark horse this weekend potentially. It looks like, I said it was the Winter Classic, it looks like we're going to get very little in the way of snow and ice. The weather in the run-up to the event these last few days has been dry and sunny. There's only potentially 1 spot of snow when the guys have done their full recce of the stage over the last couple of days to contend with, and that's on the another bit of famous bit of road, the Cisteron test, which comes up on Saturday. So plenty to keep our eyes on this weekend. The first round of WRC. We'll do a full review of it on next week's Grid Tonight, and we'll be previewing up to the Rolex 24, another Winter Classic. The first real endurance test of the year gets us underway in Florida next weekend. And don't forget, on Sunday, this coming weekend, is the qualifying race. You can see it on Peacock in the States and on IMSA TV around the world. That is on Sunday afternoon. So a big weekend of motorsport coming your way this weekend, and we'll have all the news and updates for you on the Grid's Twitter account and on Grid Tonight next week.
And now it's time for the return of everybody's favorite game, Pick a Winner. See if you can win the overall viewers championship. Last year's champion was Alex from Twitter. And see if you can beat everyone on our Grid Network team. Kobe is going for 3 Pick a Winner titles in a row. Can anyone knock him off the top? Everyone will try their hardest.
Nope. No.
Me.
3 in a
However,
row.
you heard that, folks. He's going for 3 in a row. Anyway, we have some new rules for everyone. This year, pick a winner will still be the same. Pick who you think is going to win each race. However, we'll have 3 different leaderboards. We'll have an overall leaderboard, just like traditional pick a winner. We will have a viewers leaderboard outside of our Grid Network team, and a monthly leaderboard for viewers, so we can recognize a monthly winner from each month. And be sure to follow Grid Network hashtag pick a winner on our social media pages. We're so close to having 300 subscribers on our YouTube channel, so be sure to subscribe. And now it's time we make our first pick of the year. The FIA World Rally Championship season opener, Rally Monte Carlo. Kobe, as 2-time defending champion, I'll start with you. At the end of it all, who takes the Rally Monte Carlo in the Principality of Monaco?
Oh wow, it's gonna be harder this year doing pick a winner for World Rally Championship because I'll admit I relied on Sebastian Ogier a lot in 2021, but I understand he's not gonna be running full time this year. He's just gonna be cherry picking races here and there, so it's gonna be really tough. And I know he's in this event, but I'm actually not gonna go with Sebastian Ogier to win Rally Monte Carlo. I'm gonna go with the other Sebastian making his return. Sebastian Loeb, think he's in his one-off appearance. Think he's gonna win Rally Monte Carlo.
I was thinking you'd go that way, Kobe. So I'm going with the other Sebastian Ogier. Even though he's running in selected events, I think he will win the season at Rally Monte Carlo. And now here's Kobe with some news from the world of the Repco Supercars Championship.
New Supercars CEO Shane Howard supports a return to global expansion with a focus on international strategy. In the past, the Repco Supercars Championship have raced outside of the Australian continent, and with the Gen 3 supercars on the horizon in 2023, getting positive reviews about the look of the cars all over the globe, showcasing these cars in other parts of the world is a great opportunity to grow the sport. Howard said it's very important that the championship eventually returns to overseas racing again in the future, graphic courtesy of Supercars. Adam, what's the Repco Supercars Championship's history of racing overseas?
Well, the series has raced in New Zealand at a track called Pukekohe Park, and that's where Scott McLaughlin got his first career win in front of his home country fans. Also on a street course in the city of Hamilton, back in the day, the series known as the Australian Tour Car Championship at the time ran some exhibition races and a street circuit in the city of Wellington. The series is also run in China at the Shanghai International Circuit, and also was a support category for Formula One back in the day at Abu Dhabi. And the series is also ran here in the United States at Circuit of the Americas. So hopefully down the road we'll see the Repco Supercars Championship going international one more time.
Yeah, definitely like to see Supercars going international again. On Twitter, the series account asked all international fans where they'd like to see the Supercars race in the future outside of Australia. Of course, this is very unlikely to happen until we put the global pandemic behind us, especially with the Australian government's strict COVID protocols entering and leaving the country. For now, we just get to daydream for fun about the incredible possibilities. So, Adam, which track outside Australia should the Supercars race at?
Well, I've got 3, and they're all here in the United States. First of all, when I took the series to Road America at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, an iconic 4-mile track that everybody knows. Next, why not take this series to the track known as the Brickyard and do a race on the road course at the historic Indianapolis Motor Speedway? And last, definitely not least, I'm going to say, why don't have the supercars come here to North Carolina and run on the Roval at the Charlotte Motor Speedway? And maybe even down the road, we could see a supercars NASCAR doubleheader at either Indianapolis or Charlotte. I know a lot of Aussies love watching NASCAR, so hey, like you said, Kobe, we can daydream, and hopefully we can see the supercars come back here to compete in the United States in years to come.
Yes, it would be really exciting to see the supercars come to the United States. And for me, I'm gonna go with two of the most iconic road courses in the United States. Starting with Watkins Glen, I think the supercars would run it very well at the Glen, going up through the S's into the bus stop. And let's not use the short course that NASCAR uses. I want to see the supercars go down into the boot. I think it'll be a lot of fun seeing them running that full course. And hopefully with the new next gen car in NASCAR. We get to see those cars run the boot as well. But we've been asking for the boot for so many years. They still haven't given it to us. So I'm actually starting to lose hope on that. But maybe supercars can provide some hope that. And also second track like sim race set, Road America. I think it would be so much fun and quite a spectacle to watch those amazing new cars you see right here on the screen race it race at Road America on the 4 mile road course in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. And and speaking of those new Gen 3 cars and supercars, they've been doing some extensive testing, and the drivers really getting a feel for them. A lot of rave reviews. Drivers really like. I know Will Brown said that he absolutely loves it, and he cannot wait to get behind the wheel of that car down the race. So whether you're looking at the next gen car in NASCAR or the Gen 3 car in supercars, there's a lot to be excited about in the future of motorsports. I'm thinking of, and speaking about things of the future, Formula E could be heading to a new country in the future, with India signing a letter of intent to host a race in the city of Hyderabad. The electric racing series hasn't been to India yet, as more than 20 cities around the world are fighting to be a part of the season 9 schedule next year with the introduction of the faster Gen 3 Formula E cars in Ypres in India would be a big deal because Mahindra Racing would finally get a home race. Mahindra headquarters is located in Mumbai, India. And be sure to tune in for our episode of Grid Tonight next week because we'll be doing a special preview of the upcoming Formula E season as the series kicks off the year with a double header in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see who can take the Formula E season crown. It's going to be an interesting season. So be sure to follow us here at Grid Network for all your Formula E coverage. And now switching back over to IndyCars, AJ Foyt Racing announced AJ Foyt Racing will expand to a 3-car operation in the NTT IndyCar Series. Previously, it was announced that Dalton Kellogg will drive the number 4 Chevrolet, and Indy Lights champion Kyle Kirkwood will drive the number 14 Chevrolet, replacing Sebastian Bourdais. The newest driver at Foyt is Tatiana Calderon from Colombia in South America. Calderon will drive the number 11 Rocket Chevrolet on the road courses and street circuits. No driver mentioned to race on the ovals. Calderon becomes the first female to compete outside of the Indy 500 since Pippa Mann ran a race in 2016. Tomorrow we'll have more on Calderon's journey into IndyCar and her racing career with Daniel Zera, racer Girls Behind the Helmet. We'll have more information on the Women in Motorsports show and the graphic courtesy of AJ Foyt Racing. And before we end tonight's show, we want to wish our founder and CEO here at Grid Network, Joe Samaniego, a very happy birthday. Joe, we hope you're enjoying your special day, eating a lot of cake, taking it easy. We appreciate everything you do for us on our team. So cheers to another successful year here at Grid Network under your direction. And Kobe, time to wrap up our edition of Grid Tonight.
Yeah, that's it for tonight's episode of Grid Tonight. Please be sure to like and subscribe to Grid Network here on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We encourage you to take 5 minutes after the show and consider joining our Patreon. Invest in Grid Network to keep us on the air well into the future. Do you want to buy me a coffee? Click the link in the video description below and you can buy a drink for your favorite on-air talent here at Grid Network. Any amount will help us continue growing our motorsports media outlet. Visit public.com, also known as the stock market social media home. A link below and referral code gives you $5 to invest. Public.com will allow you to connect with your friends. You can make new friends and use tools to learn how to properly invest in the stock market. Also, visit Grid Network's newly updated website, and please feel free to give us feedback in the comment section below. We expect and accept any forms of respectful, constructive criticism of any kind, so you, the viewer, can get the best possible experience. And tomorrow on Thursday, we'll have a new episode of Women in Motorsports, but several hours later, you can catch that show at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time in the afternoon. For Adam Lemerise, I'm Kobe Lambeth from the Podium Finish. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Don't be an anonymous investor. Join the stock market social media platform, public.com. Invest any amount of money and share with friends and new friends. Discover new opportunities, such as new companies and potential business partners, and useful tools for beginners, and share your experience with friends on public.com. Link in the video description gets you $5 for being a Grid Network viewer. Use the referral code GRIDnet for your free $5 to invest and start investing and networking on public.com.